Hello and welcome to Morris Park. Today I wanted to show you something that was kind of interesting. I was going through some old things of mine and going through some books, and I found these in one of my cactus books. Now lately, I've been seeing some things on YouTube, various channels. Two of the channels, as a matter of fact, one was Anna of Cactus Caffeine. She gave a tour of the San Gabriel Valley Cactus and Succulent show. I don't know if they even call it that. I think they may have called it the Inner City show now. But anyways, the Cactus and Succulent show there, just recently. And it kind of piqued some memories there. Also, from about a year ago, I saw one by Cactus Quest. And they also showed this show. And I've been to this show. I've been to this show once. And you're looking at it. This show actually was in 1984. That is 38 years ago. Believe it or not, I have some of the plants that I purchased at this show that many years ago. And I'm going to show you some of these, but first, I'm just going to show you some of the cards from some of the vendors that were there. And some of them actually do exist still. The show was much smaller from what I can see on YouTube now. The show was much smaller when I went to it. It looks like it's vastly improved. It looks really wonderful. I wish I could go to this, but I'm about 1,000 miles away, so that's probably not going to happen. But anyways, here's some of the vendors that were at this show. It's amazing I still got some of these cards. I grabbed these cards when I bought my plants. I don't know that these were the exact vendors I got them from. I'm sure some of them are. But anyhow, I still had some of these cards years and years later. And seeing the shows online and everything, I thought I would show you some of the plants I still got left. So it's kind of interesting. I don't have all of them. One plant I'm missing for sure that I remember was Euphorbia Herita, and it died probably about 20 years ago. But I still have some of the other ones left, and I'm going to show you what I have. This is a Euphorbia Herita powder blue. Now when I bought this, it was probably about as big as that stem right there. Just like that. Now, over the years, this has grown out quite a bit. You can see here it's got a seed pod on it. And that's because I just cross-pollinated it with my polygona up here. And so I had to have an interesting hybrid out of that. But anyhow, this Euphorbia has been a real nice one. I really like it. I should have kept better records back then as far as who I bought it from, what table I bought it from, what vendor. But I didn't. So I'm really at a loss as to where this one actually came from. I actually wish I could still contact the person and find out the lineage of this plant. I really don't know, but it's a real tight cultivar of Euphorbia Herita. I really like this one because it is so tightly massed, and there's just a real tight, nice clump. Got that kind of blue color, and you see a lot of new growth coming in on it. And this isn't the only one of these. I only bought one, but from that one, I also got this one. I had this actually growing in a arrangement with some other euphorbias, and they're all starting to crowd each other out. But it's such a nice plant, I decided to plant it off in this pot. And believe it or not, this pot that it's in is actually about 39 years old, I believe. I bought this little pot, this stoneware pot, when I used to work at the nursery at Live Oak Gardens in Arcadia, California. And I bought about 3 or 4 of these pots. I still have some of them left, actually. But it was that nice blue color, and it really fit the plant. But yeah, this particular plant came from that show in 1984. Let's see a couple more. Now, this is a Euphorbia Herita striata. You see, it's got lots of spines to it, or thorns to it. And you can see there's a hole in the middle. There's nothing, it's just this big ring of the plant. That's because the original plant is actually gone. The original plant was right there. But it got a condition that still baffles me, that I call dry rot. And this condition, what it happens, they don't actually just get mushy and rot like a normal rot you'd see on cacti or succulents or euphorbias or anything like that. What it does is the plant just starts to lighten up, starts to turn a bit yellow, and mummify. Basically, it just dries up until it's just brown and hard. They don't actually rot off or anything. And the other, as you can see, the other heads were not hurt by this. It didn't lose any of them. Now, it did try to grow a new one down there from one of those, and for some reason it did the same thing. I do not know why. This euphorbia has also been a mother plant, and I've done some hybrids with it too. But when I bought it, this small head, it would have to be quite a bit smaller. Almost like this powder blue over here. It was very small. But that was one of the plants I bought also. And here's another. Now this monodenium here is a monodenium heteropodum. And I bought this one there too. Now when I bought it, it was just a little guy about like this one here. Just one. And 38 years later, this is what it looks like. And it hangs down quite a bit. You can see. It seems like this one has flower buds on it most of the time. You see right there. And these ones aren't quite open yet. But it usually has some kind of flowers or buds on it most of the time. Now this would probably even be bigger, except this has kind of a curious habit. I've noticed that it does. And actually you can kind of see it right there, where the stems will just dry off and die. I've noticed this in monodeniums, they do it quite a bit. Sometimes they'll dry off and die right below the main growing point. It actually doesn't even hurt them. You can just cut it off and replant the stem as a cutting, and it'll grow. But this is the last plant I bought from the show. And 38 years later, it's still growing strong, still doing well, as well as the others. I'm just glad I didn't lose the striata, because it has become a nice plant. Now it's a little barked up there, a little scarred, because I had a little ordeal with some rust last year, which I got on that and killed all that out. Before it was kind of brown looking patches, and you see it's kind of gray now. Has some gray, and that's just kind of the scarring from where it killed off the disease there, the fungus. Anyhow, I just wanted to show you these beauties, but before I go, I want to show you a couple of things and bring you up to date. Okay, folks, the party is pretty much over. You can see there's just, I don't know, there may be over 100 or more spent flowers on there. We had a few left that bloomed today, and you can still see down in there. There'll be a bud there. And a bud over here. So you still have a couple every day that's going to kind of bloom off. And this has been going for, what, about 12 days now, I think. So this was the aftermath of the explosion. But really, it really outperformed itself this year. It really did fantastic. I don't expect it to do that this year, because it's bloomed so much on the top edges there, and that's usually all the blooming areoles. I don't think it'll probably do it next year. It'll just be full of fruit this winter. I might try an experiment to see if you pick the fruit off, will it bloom back again real good. So I might do that with a few branches and see what happens. Because it may be just a matter of harvesting fruit. A little bud right there. So anyhow, yep, party's over, guys. It was good while it lasted, though, wasn't it? I'm going to show you one other thing. Now, these are yuccas in bloom. And I think, unsure, I think this is Yucca filamentosa. I'm unsure, don't quote me on that. This is our native yucca though. I know I often get this confused. There's two yuccas I get confused. It's our native one, another one as far as the name goes. But they bloomed real well. See? They always seem to get all these little spots from all the little bugs and stuff all over them. Ants love these things. Of course, they love everything. See them everywhere. Like there. We just can't get past these guys. At least this time I don't think they're spreading any pests. They're just eating the sugars that occur on the buds and the flowers. Now this here was a little project put together. It's been a rock garden for a long time, but all the rocks are falling over and a lot of the stuff in it wasn't doing very well. I actually transplanted a lot of the opuntias out of here and put in the bed with all the flowers in it. And that's what made that one, because they just weren't doing very well here. Reason being, the soil. Soil was too dense. It acted like a little bowl here, just collected up moisture, and they just didn't do very well. You get a flower here, a flower there, kind of like you're seeing here. There's one there. And you see a few buds there, right there. But they never bloomed really a lot, and they never grew a lot. But these things are tough, so I just kind of persevered. So I took them all out of here and put them in that bed, along with some ones I had under a cedar tree, and they did so much better, as you can see. But this Saturday, I tore this all apart and redid this. And you can see the soil. This is the actual soil. It's very rocky and very sandy now. I put a good layer on there, about 6 inches or more, and redid this. That way this will get a chance to kind of drain off, and it'll drain downhill here if it gets too wet. Now the lavender's been growing in there quite a while. I kind of like the lavender for its kind of gray foliage, and it looks kind of deserty when it's growing in here, but it doesn't look too good right now because of the transplanting. It didn't really like the transplanting too much, and right now we're hot. We're very hot today. We're at about mid-90s and very humid, so the heat index is up to about 100, and yeah, it's just not liking it very well. But I transplanted this all around. All these were in different places. The variegated yucca too was doing poorly over the last couple of years, so we decided to clean it up, replant it. And this little stem here with the shoots coming out of it is actually a type of milkweed, Asclepia. And the reason it has no leaves and just little shoots is because the monarch caterpillars already had their way with it. They jowed down on that and they're gone already. Anyhow, I just wanted to show you this little rock garden here and show you the stuff I got 38 years ago from the San Gabriel Valley Cactus and Succulent Society show, which I believe now is called the Inner City Show. Anyhow, this is Clyde Morris from Morris Park. Hope you enjoyed the video. Y'all take care.